In December 1971, an Indian Folan Gnat, so small the enemy nicknamed it the Sabre Slayer, dropped Pakistani fighters out of the sky over the Eastern Front. From that pint-sized killer to the Rafale that now rules the subcontinent's skies, this is every fighting aircraft the Indian Air Force has ever flown. The Piston era, Biplanes, Warbirds, and the Genesis. Westland Wapiti, the Genesis plane. This fabric and wire biplane was the very first aircraft the Indian Air Force ever flew when the service was born in 1932, a general-purpose machine built from leftover World War I parts. It hauled bombs over the rugged northwest frontier, dodging tribal rifle fire in open cockpit raids. 6 of these flew the IAF's first ever sortie, the entire force fitting on a single airstrip. Tempest, the thunderbolt of late World War II piston power, this brute clocked over 430 miles per hour and became the IAF's frontline fighter through the chaotic years right after independence. Supermarine Spitfire, the elliptical-winged icon that won the Battle of Britain, served India too, flying recon and ground attack missions into the Kashmir War of 1947. Hurricane, the unsung workhorse that actually downed more enemies than the Spitfire in 1940. It pounded Japanese positions over the Burma front in Indian hands. Vengeance, a purpose-built American dive bomber that screamed straight down at near vertical angles to drop its payload on Japanese supply lines in the jungle. But if you think a dive bomber was wild, wait for the 4-engine monster India turned into a homemade heavy bomber out of literal scrapyards. Stay locked. Consolidated B-24 Liberator, the resurrection bomber. India operated this massive 4-engine heavy bomber by rebuilding dozens of them from aircraft the British had deliberately scrapped and buried in the jungle after World War II. Indian engineers pulled wrecks out of the ground, cannibalized parts, and resurrected a strategic bomber fleet from a graveyard. It became one of the last operational B-24 squadrons on Earth, flying maritime patrol into the 1960s. The piston age dies, and the jet age detonates with India's first jet homegrown kill machine, the Jet Dawn. First Screamers and the Sabre Slayers. English Electric Canberra, India's first jet bomber. It flew so high and so fast that it ran deep penetration recon and bombing strikes from 1957 all the way through 3 wars. De Havilland Vampire, the IAF's first jet fighter, a twin-boom oddity with a wooden fuselage that saw combat in the 1961 Goa operation and the 1965 war. The Salt Uragan, Tufani, India's first French jet. Tufani means stormy, a straight-wing ground pounder that hammered targets in the 1961 Goa liberation. The Salt Mystère 4, the swept-wing successor that ran low-level strike missions in 1965, taking on Pakistani Sabres and armor columns. Hunter, the Battle of Longewala Beast. This British transonic fighter became one of India's deadliest strike platforms across the 1965 and 1971 wars. In the legendary Battle of Longewala, Hunter spent an entire night strafing and rocketing a Pakistani tank column trapped in the open desert, destroying dozens of tanks against a single Indian infantry company. The Pakistanis abandoned their armor and fled, a massacre delivered from the air. Gnat, the Sabre Slayer, a tiny, lightweight British fighter so small it was nearly invisible in a dogfight. India turned it into a giant killer against Pakistan's larger F-86 Sabres. In 1965 and 1971, it shot down so many Sabres it earned the nickname that struck fear into enemy pilots. It was cheap, brutal, and the first jet India would soon build versions of itself. But if the Gnat was a killer, its Indian-born descendant fixed every flaw the original ever had. Stay locked. Ajeet, the indigenous Indian upgrade of the Gnat. Ajeet means invincible, packing more fuel, more hardpoints, and better avionics for the home-built fleet. But the real madness begins when India goes supersonic and Soviet. The Cold War swing wings and supersonic Soviets. Mach 2 enters the chat. Sukhoi Su-7, a brutal Soviet fighter bomber that guzzled fuel and needed a mile of runway, but flew over 1,500 ground attack sorties in the 1971 war and absorbed punishment that should have downed it. Jaguar, the deep penetration striker. This Anglo-French strike jet was built to fly low, fast, and deep behind enemy lines with a nuclear-capable payload. India calls it the Shamsher, Sword of Justice, and still flies it as a frontline deep strike bomber decades after every other operator retired theirs. It can scream in at treetop height under radar and deliver a knockout blow before the enemy knows it's there. Mikoyan MiG-21, the most produced supersonic jet ever. This delta-wing Soviet rocket became the backbone of the IAF for over half a century and the most produced supersonic aircraft in history. In 1971, a MiG-21 scored the IAF's first supersonic kill, and decades later, one shot down an enemy jet in the 2019 Balakot dogfight. Pilots loved and feared it. Fast, unforgiving, and lethal right to the end. MiG-23MF, a swing-wing Soviet interceptor whose wings physically pivoted in flight, built to chase down high-speed intruders. MiG-23BN, the ground attack variant of the swing wing, hauling bombs and rockets at low level into the strike role. But if a wing that folds mid-flight sounds insane, the next MiG could outrun a missile at the edge of space. Stay locked. Mikoyan Gurevich MiG-25R Foxbat, the Untouchable Spy. This was a recon variant so fast and so high-flying that nothing in the region could touch it. Indian Foxbats reportedly screamed over enemy capitals at over Mach 2 and altitudes near 90,000 feet. And when one triggered a sonic boom over the city below, the enemy scrambled jets that couldn't even reach its altitude. No interceptor, no missile, no defense ever brought it down. MiG-27, the dedicated swing-wing ground attack monster with a devastating 6-barrel cannon. It flew strike missions in the 1999 Kargil War from Himalayan altitudes. But the real madness begins with the 4th-generation beasts that rule the skies today. The modern Predators, 4th gen and the indigenous future. Welcome to the age of multi-role kings. Dassault Mirage 2000, the Kargil game-changer. This French delta-wing multi-role fighter turned the 1999 Kargil War when India strapped laser-guided bombs to it and obliterated entrenched enemy positions on mountain peaks. It later flew the 2019 Balaka airstrike, crossing the border at night to bomb a militant camp deep inside enemy territory. Precision, speed, and reach, it does it all. Mikoyan MiG-29 Fulcrum, a twin-engine air superiority fighter so agile it can perform the tail slide maneuver. India calls it the Baz and flies an upgraded version off both land and carrier. Sukhoi Su-30K, the early interim version of the flanker family India acquired to bridge the gap while the ultimate variant was being built. Sukhoi Su-30 MKI, the apex flanker. This is the most powerful fighter in the IAF fleet, a massive twin-engine air dominance beast with thrust-vectoring nozzles that let it tumble through the sky in maneuvers that defy physics. It carries the BrahMos, a supersonic cruise missile the size of a telephone pole slung under its belly. With over 250 in service, it is the iron spine of Indian power. Dassault Rafale, the omni-role game ender. France's twin-engine masterpiece is the most advanced fighter India operates, packing the Meteor missile that can kill targets over 100 miles away before they ever see it coming. It carries Scalp, Deep Strike cruise missiles, and a sensor suite that dominates everything in the sky. When these landed in 2020, the regional balance of power shifted overnight. Tejas, India's home-built single-engine delta-wing fighter, the lightest supersonic combat jet in the world, and the spearhead of the nation's push to build its own air force from scratch. But the killers don't need pilots anymore. The machines are taking over. The unmanned hunters, drones, and UAVs. No pilot, no mercy. IAI Searcher, an Israeli surveillance drone that became India's eyes over the battlefield, loitering for hours to feed real-time recon to commanders. IAI Heron, a high-endurance Israeli UAV that can stay airborne for over 24 hours, watching borders and mountain passes without blinking. IAI Harop, the suicide drone. This isn't a spotter, it's a kamikaze. The Harop loiters over the battlefield for hours hunting targets, then dives straight into them and detonates, acting as both the missile and the launcher in one. It can home in on enemy radar emissions or be steered manually into a target, making it one of the deadliest loitering munitions India fields. DRDO Nishant, an indigenous Indian recon drone launched by hydropneumatic catapult and recovered by parachute, built entirely on Ohm soil. DRDO Rustam, India's homegrown medium-altitude long-endurance UAV, the foundation for the nation's future armed drone fleet. General Atomics MQ-9B Predator, the Reaper. This is the apex hunter-killer drone on the planet, capable of flying over 35 hours and striking targets thousands of miles from base with Hellfire missiles and precision bombs. India's acquisition gives it the power to watch and strike across both land borders and the entire Indian Ocean. It hunts silently from altitudes where no one can see or hear it. But the real madness begins where the wings stop spinning forward and start spinning overhead. The rotary wing, gunships, and flying tanks. The blades come out. Westland Dragonfly, the IAF's first helicopter, a piston engine workhorse used for rescue and liaison in the early 1950s. Sikorsky S-55, an early American utility chopper that hauled troops and supplies into terrain no road could reach. Mil Mi-4, a Soviet piston helicopter that flew impossible high-altitude supply runs over the Himalayas in the 1962 and 1965 wars. Mil Mi-8, the twin-turbine Soviet workhorse that became the backbone of Indian heavy lift, moving troops and cargo across every terrain. Mil Mi-24, the flying tank. This Soviet monster was the world's only attack helicopter that could also carry a squad of troops in its belly, a gunship and transport fused into one armored beast. It bristles with rockets, cannons, and missiles while hauling soldiers straight into the kill zone. The enemy called it the Devil's Chariot wherever it flew. MIL Mi-25, the export variant of the Hunt gunship, India's first dedicated attack helicopter, blooded in the Sri Lanka intervention of the 1980s. MIL Mi-35, the upgraded night attack Hunt with thermal sights and anti-tank missiles, still flying as a heavy gunship today. HAL Chetak, a license-built French Alouette used for rescue, recon, and light attack across decades of service. HAL Cheetah, a high-altitude specialist that holds the record as one of the only helicopters able to land on the world's highest battlefield, the Siachen Glacier. HAL Dhruv, India's first advanced multi-role helicopter, a home-built machine flown by the military and the aerobatic display team alike. HAL Light Combat Helicopter, LCH Prachand, the high-altitude killer. This is the only attack helicopter on Earth purpose-built to take off, fight, and fire weapons at the extreme altitudes of the Himalayas, above 16,000 feet. Prachand means ferocious, and it carries air-to-air missiles, rockets, and a chin-mounted cannon into thin mountain air where other gunships simply can't perform. It's India's homegrown answer to dominating the roof of the world. HAL Light Utility Helicopter, India's indigenous single-engine chopper built to replace the aging Cheetah and Chetak fleets in high-altitude roles. Boeing CH-47 Chinook, the twin-rotor American heavy-lift giant that can sling artillery guns and vehicles into Himalayan positions impossible to reach by land. Boeing AH-64 Apache, the Apex gunship. This is the deadliest attack helicopter ever built, an American killing machine with a radar dome that lets it hide behind terrain and fire Hellfire missiles without ever exposing itself. It carries a 30mm chain gun slaved to the pilot's helmet. Wherever he looks, the cannon aims. It is the final word in rotary wing destruction, and the IAF flies it as the tip of the spear. But the Warbirds are nothing without the giants and the silent eyes that keep them flying. Douglas DC-3 Dakota, the legendary transport that airlifted troops into Kashmir in 1947 to save the valley in the war's opening hours. Fairchild C-119 flying boxcar, the twin-boom hauler India modified to drop supplies at record Himalayan altitudes. Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation, the elegant four-engine giant pressed into maritime patrol and transport. HS-748 Avro, the license-built medium transport that became a workhorse for decades. Dornier DO-228, the compact German-designed twin used for coastal patrol and light transport. Antonov AN-12, the four-engine Soviet hauler that flew heavy cargo and even improvised bombing runs over the mountains. Antonov AN-32, the rugged twin-turboprop built specifically for hot and high Indian airfields. Ilyushin IL-14, an early Soviet piston transport for VIP and cargo duties. Ilyushin IL-76, the Gajras. This four-engine Soviet strategic airlifter, nicknamed Gajras, King Elephant, can swallow tanks, artillery, and entire infantry units and fly them across the country in hours. It famously airlifted troops and supplies during the Kargil War and serves as the platform for India's airborne radar. It's the heavy lift hammer of the entire fleet. Boeing C-17 Globemaster III, the colossal American airlifter that can carry over 70 tons and land on short, rough strips deep in the mountains. Lockheed C-130J Super Hercules, the Special Forces workhorse that flew India's highest altitude landing on a remote Himalayan strip. Airbus C-295, the modern medium transport now being built on Indian soil to replace the ancient Avro fleet. Boeing 707 and Boeing 737 adapted for VIP and military transport duties. Airbus A319CJ, the head of state and communication jet. Embraer EMB-145 AEW&C, the Netra I. This is India's indigenous flying radar, a jet with an active electronically scanned antenna mounted on its spine that sees hundreds of miles in every direction. It tracks enemy aircraft, missiles, and movements long before they're a threat, turning the whole air battle into a chess match India controls. Netra means eye, and it never closes. Bediev A-50EI, the Falcon Sentinel. This is the IAF's most powerful airborne early warning platform, a massive IL-76 airframe topped with an Israeli Falcon radar dome that detects threats across a 400-kilometer arc. It commands and directs entire fleets of fighters in real time from high above the battlefield. It is the all-seeing brain of Indian air operations. Now the war teachers, the trainers that forged every pilot who flew everything before. North American Harvard, the World War II advanced trainer that taught generations to fly. De Havilland Tiger Moth, the open cockpit biplane where it all began for new cadets. Percival Prentice, the basic trainer of the early independent Air Force. HAL HT-2, India's first indigenous trainer aircraft. HAL HJT-16 Kiran, the home-built jet trainer that served for over a century. HAL HPT-32 Deepak, the Piston basic trainer flown by thousands of cadets. Pilatus PC-7 Mark II, the Swiss turboprop that now handles basic flying training. BAE Hawk Mark 132, the advanced jet trainer that also flies as the mount of the Surya Kiran aerobatic team. HAL HTT-40, India's newest indigenous basic trainer. HAL HJT-36 Sitara, the indigenous final word. This is India's homegrown intermediate jet trainer, built to bridge the gap between basic propeller flying and screaming frontline fighters. After years of development battles, it represents the nation's drive to forge its own warriors on its own machines, from First Solo to Supersonic. It is the future of how India will forge every pilot who flies everything you just witnessed. Every aircraft, every era, no compromises. History Under Fire out.